The world of Dragon Ball was once a place where battles were won through sheer strength, determination, and the unyielding spirit of its warriors. But now, a shadow loomed over the Z fighters, threatening to unravel everything they had fought for. The story begins with Goku, the Saiyan warrior who had saved Earth countless times, facing a new and insidious enemy, a mysterious heart disease that even his Saiyan physiology could not withstand. The disease had no cure, not even the miraculous Senzu beans, which had always been a symbol of hope and recovery for the Z fighters. Goku's condition was worsening, and his once boundless energy was fading. Yet, despite this, he refused to give up. His motivation was clear: he had to protect his loved ones and the Earth, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, Vegeta, the proud Saiyan prince, was training relentlessly, driven by his desire to surpass Goku and prove himself as the strongest warrior in the universe. His pride and ambition fueled his every move, and he saw Goku's illness as an opportunity to finally claim the title he had always coveted. The stage was set for a conflict that would test the limits of their strength, their resolve, and their very existence. The story begins with Goku training in the hyperbolic time chamber, a place where time moved differently, allowing him to push his limits without the constraints of the outside world. His body was drenched in sweat, his muscles straining as he unleashed a flurry of punches and kicks against an invisible opponent. His movements were precise, each strike carrying the weight of his determination. But suddenly, he clutched his chest, his face contorting in pain. The heart disease was taking its toll, and even the Senzu beans he had brought with him could do nothing to alleviate the agony. Goku fell to his knees, his breathing labored, but his eyes burned with resolve. He knew he couldn't give up. He had to find a way to overcome this weakness, to push beyond his limits and protect those he loved. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of West City, Vegeta was engaged in his own training. His fist slammed into a massive boulder, reducing it to rubble with a single strike. His power level surged as he unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, each one more devastating than the last. His face was a mask of determination, his eyes gleaming with the fire of his ambition. He had always been driven by the desire to surpass Goku, and now, with Goku weakened by illness, he saw his chance. But deep down, a part of him was unsettled. He had always thrived on competition, on the thrill of facing a worthy opponent. If Goku were to fall, who would challenge him? Who would push him to become stronger? These thoughts lingered in the back of his mind, but he pushed them aside, focusing instead on his training. The conflict escalated when a new threat emerged, a powerful enemy known as Dr. Garo, the creator of the androids. Dr. Garo had been watching the Z fighters for years, studying their techniques and weaknesses. He had created a series of androids designed to surpass even the strongest warriors on Earth. His ultimate creation, Android 17 and Android 18, were nearly unstoppable, their power levels far beyond anything the Z fighters had ever faced. Dr. Garo's motivation was clear: he sought revenge against Goku and the others for defeating the Red Ribbon Army years ago. He had waited patiently, biding his time, and now, with Goku weakened, he saw his opportunity to strike. The first encounter between the Z fighters and the androids was a brutal and chaotic battle. Goku, despite his illness, refused to back down. He transformed into a Super Saiyan, his golden aura blazing as he charged at Android 17. His fists moved like lightning, each strike aimed with precision and power. But Android 17 was fast, his movements almost effortless as he dodged and countered Goku's attacks. The two warriors clashed in a flurry of punches and kicks, their energy colliding in explosive bursts. Goku's heart disease began to take its toll, his movements slowing as the pain in his chest intensified. But he pushed through, his determination unwavering. He unleashed a powerful Kamehameha wave, the energy beam surging toward Android 17 with incredible force. But the android simply smirked, deflecting the attack with ease. Vegeta, watching from the sidelines, couldn't contain his frustration. He had always hated being second to Goku, and now, seeing his rival struggle against the androids, he saw his chance to prove himself. He transformed into a Super Saiyan, his power level skyrocketing as he joined the battle. His attacks were relentless, each strike aimed with deadly precision. He unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, forcing Android 18 to retreat. But the androids were not so easily defeated. They countered with their own attacks, their energy beams slicing through the air with terrifying speed. The battlefield was a chaotic storm of energy and destruction, the ground shaking with the force of their clashes. As the battle raged on, Goku's condition continued to worsen. He could feel his strength fading, his movements becoming sluggish. But he refused to give up. He tapped into the power of the Kaioken, amplifying his strength to 20 times its normal level. His body glowed with a red aura as he launched himself at Android 17, his attacks now faster and more powerful than ever. The android was caught off guard, struggling to keep up with Goku's newfound speed. But the strain on Goku's body was immense. His heart was pounding, his vision blurring as the pain threatened to overwhelm him. With a final, desperate effort, he unleashed a massive energy blast, the force of it sending Android 17 flying. But as the dust settled, Goku collapsed to the ground, his body unable to withstand the strain. Vegeta, seeing Goku fall, felt a surge of conflicting emotions. He had always wanted to surpass Goku, to prove himself as the strongest. But now, seeing his rival defeated, he felt a strange sense of emptiness. The androids, sensing an opportunity, turned their attention to Vegeta. The Saiyan Prince gritted his teeth, his pride refusing to let him back down. He unleashed a devastating final flash, the energy beam tearing through the air with incredible force. Android 18 barely managed to dodge, but the attack left a massive crater in the ground. The battle was far from over, and the Z fighters were facing their greatest challenge yet. The stakes had never been higher, and the outcome was uncertain. But one thing was clear, they would fight to the very end, no matter the cost. The battlefield was a chaotic storm of energy blasts, shattered terrain, and the relentless clash of titans. Goku, despite the searing pain in his chest from his worsening heart virus, stood firm, his fists clenched and his breathing labored. Across from him, the towering figure of Vegeta sneered, his aura flaring with an intensity that rivaled the sun. "You're weak, Kakarot," Vegeta spat, his voice dripping with disdain. "Even with your precious Super Saiyan form, you can't keep up with me. That heart of yours is failing you." Goku gritted his teeth, his golden hair flickering as he struggled to maintain his transformation. He knew Vegeta was right, his body was betraying him, but he couldn't afford to falter now. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. With a roar, Goku launched himself at Vegeta, his movements a blur of speed and precision. He feinted left, then pivoted sharply, aiming a devastating kick at Vegeta's side. Vegeta blocked it with ease, countering with a brutal elbow strike that sent Goku skidding backward. The Saiyan Prince smirked, his confidence unshaken. "Is that all you've got? Pathetic." Goku wiped a trickle of blood from his lip, his eyes narrowing. He knew he had to push past his limits, even if it meant risking his life. "You're right, Vegeta," Goku said, his voice steady despite the pain. "I'm not at my best. But that doesn't mean I'll let you win." With a deep breath, Goku tapped into his reserves, his aura flaring brighter than ever. Kaioken. Times 20. The red energy enveloped him, amplifying his strength and speed to unimaginable levels. The ground beneath him cracked and splintered as he surged forward, his fists a blur of motion. Vegeta's eyes widened in surprise as Goku's attacks came faster and harder than before. The two scions exchanged blows at blinding speed, their fists colliding with the force of 1,000 explosions. Goku's movements were precise and calculated, each strike aimed at exploiting Vegeta's weaknesses. He ducked under a wild punch, then countered with a spinning kick that sent Vegeta flying into a nearby cliff. The impact shattered the rock face, sending debris raining down. Vegeta growled, his pride wounded. "You think a cheap trick like that will work on me?" He snarled, his aura flaring as he powered up to his maximum. "I'll show you the true power of a Saiyan Prince." Vegeta's energy surged, his muscles bulging as he unleashed his full strength. He charged at Goku, his fists glowing with destructive energy. The two warriors clashed again, their battle shaking the very foundations of the planet. Goku's Kaioken enhanced attacks were relentless, but Vegeta's raw power and cunning kept him in the fight. The Saiyan Prince adapted quickly, using his superior combat experience to counter Goku's strategies. He feigned a punch, then spun around to deliver a crushing kick to Goku's ribs. Goku staggered, his heart pounding painfully in his chest. He coughed, blood staining his lips, but he refused to back down. "I won't lose. Not like this," he muttered, his voice barely audible over the roar of their battle. Summoning every ounce of strength, Goku unleashed a massive Kamehameha wave, the blue energy surging toward Vegeta with unstoppable force. Vegeta crossed his arms in front of him, bracing for the impact. The beam slammed into him, pushing him back across the battlefield. His boots dug trenches into the ground as he struggled to hold his ground. With a roar, Vegeta channeled his own energy, creating a barrier that deflected the Kamehameha into the sky. The explosion lit up the heavens, casting an eerie glow over the battlefield. Vegeta smirked, his confidence unshaken. "Is that the best you've got, Kakarot?" he taunted. "You're running out of tricks." Goku panted, his body trembling from the strain. He knew he couldn't keep this up much longer. The heart virus was sapping his strength, and the Kaioken was taking a toll on his body. But he couldn't give up, not yet. As the battle raged on, Goku's allies watched from a distance, their hearts heavy with worry. Krillin clenched his fists, his frustration evident. "We have to do something." "Goku's pushing himself too hard," he shouted. Piccolo, ever the strategist, shook his head. "We can't interfere. This is his fight. If we step in, it could make things worse." Tien nodded in agreement, though his expression was grim. "Goku's the only one who can match Vegeta's power. We have to trust him." But even as they spoke, doubts lingered. Goku's condition was worsening, and the outcome of the battle was far from certain. Back on the battlefield, Goku and Vegeta continued their brutal duel. Vegeta's attacks grew more ferocious, his desperation evident. He knew he couldn't afford to lose, not to a low-class warrior like Goku. "You're nothing but a nuisance, Kakarot," Vegeta roared, his fists glowing with energy. "I'll crush you and take this planet for myself." Goku dodged a flurry of punches, his movements slowing as fatigue set in. He knew he had to end this soon, or he wouldn't last much longer. Summoning the last of his strength, Goku unleashed a flurry of attacks, each one pushing Vegeta closer to his limits. The Saiyan Prince staggered, his defenses faltering. For the first time, doubt flickered in his eyes. Goku saw his opening and seized it. With a roar, he charged at Vegeta, his fist glowing with energy. "This ends now," he shouted, his voice filled with determination. Vegeta barely had time to react as Goku's fist connected with his chest, the impact sending shockwaves through the air. Vegeta was sent flying, his body crashing into the ground with a deafening thud. Goku stood over him, his breathing ragged and his body trembling. "It's over, Vegeta," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. But as he turned to walk away, Vegeta's hand shot out, gripping his ankle. "Not yet," Vegeta growled, his eyes blazing with fury. With a surge of energy, he pulled himself to his feet, his body battered but unbroken. The two warriors faced each other once more, their auras flickering like dying flames. The battle had taken its toll on both of them, but neither was willing to concede. Goku knew he had one last chance to end this. Summoning the last of his strength, he prepared to unleash his ultimate attack. Vegeta, sensing the danger, did the same. The air crackled with energy as the two scions charged their final blows. "This is it," Goku muttered, his voice filled with resolve. "For Earth. For my friends. I won't lose." With a deafening roar, the two warriors unleashed their attacks, the energy colliding in a blinding explosion that lit up the sky. The ground shook, and the air was filled with the sound of their battle cries. As the dust settled, the battlefield fell silent. Goku stood amidst the ruins, his body battered and broken. Vegeta lay unconscious at his feet, his pride shattered along with his body. Goku collapsed to his knees, his strength finally giving out. He had pushed himself to the brink, but he had emerged victorious. The heart virus still raged within him, but for now, he had saved the Earth. As his vision blurred and darkness closed in, Goku allowed himself a small smile. He had given everything he had, and it had been enough. For now, that was all that mattered. The final battle in 20 reaches its climax as the fate of the universe hangs in the balance. The battlefield is a desolate wasteland, scarred by the relentless clashes between Goku and the seemingly invincible foe, a cosmic entity known as Zeroth. Goku, weakened by his heart condition, struggles to maintain his composure as the pain in his chest intensifies with every movement. His breath is ragged, his muscles scream in protest, but his determination burns brighter than ever. Zeroth, a being of pure energy and malice, taunts him, his voice echoing like thunder across the shattered landscape. "You are nothing but a dying mortal, Son Goku. Your efforts are futile." Goku clenches his fists, his aura flickering as he pushes his body to its absolute limit. He knows this is his last chance. With a roar that shakes the heavens, he activates the 20x Kaioken, a technique he has been secretly perfecting during his training. His body glows crimson, veins bulging as the sheer power threatens to tear him apart. The ground beneath him cracks and disintegrates as he launches himself at Zeroth, his speed and strength amplified to unimaginable levels. The two collide in a blinding explosion of energy, the shockwave rippling across the planet and beyond. Goku's fists move like lightning, each strike carrying the weight of his desperation and resolve. Zeroth counters with equal ferocity, his attacks precise and devastating, but Goku's sheer willpower keeps him in the fight. The battle rages on, each moment more intense than the last. Goku's heart pounds erratically, his vision blurring as the strain of the 20x Kaioken takes its toll. He knows he can't sustain this for much longer. Zeroth, sensing his weakness, unleashes a barrage of energy blasts, forcing Goku to evade with every ounce of agility he has left. One blast grazes his shoulder, sending him spinning through the air. He crashes into the ground, blood dripping from his wounds, but he refuses to stay down. With a guttural cry, he rises once more, his eyes blazing with defiance. "I won't let you win," he growls, his voice trembling but resolute. "Not while there's still breath in my body." As the fight reaches its peak, Goku's allies watch from a distance, their hearts heavy with fear and hope. Vegeta, his pride tempered by the gravity of the situation, clenches his fists. "Kakarot. You fool," he mutters, his voice tinged with reluctant admiration. "You always push yourself beyond the impossible." Piccolo, ever the strategist, analyzes the battlefield, searching for any opening that could turn the tide. Gohan, tears streaming down his face, whispers, "Dad. You can do this. I believe in you." Their collective hope fuels Goku, even as his body threatens to give out. In a final, desperate gambit, Goku channels every ounce of his remaining energy into one ultimate attack. His hands come together, forming a massive sphere of energy that crackles with raw power. The Spirit Bomb, amplified by the 20x Kaioken, glows brighter than the sun. Zeroth, for the first time, shows a flicker of fear in his eyes. You can't possibly." He stammers, but Goku cuts him off with a roar. "This is for everyone I care about. For the universe." With a mighty thrust, he hurls the Spirit Bomb at Zeroth, the sheer force of it tearing through the fabric of reality itself. The explosion is cataclysmic, a blinding light that engulfs everything in its path. When the dust settles, Goku stands alone, his body battered and broken, but victorious. Zeroth is gone, his essence scattered to the winds. The universe is saved, but the cost is immense. Goku collapses to his knees, his heart pounding erratically. He reaches for a Senzu bean, but even as he eats it, he knows it won't cure his condition. The damage is too great. His friends rush to his side, their relief tempered by the realization of what he has sacrificed. "Goku. You did it," Piccolo says, his voice heavy with emotion. "But at what cost?" The aftermath of the battle reshapes the universe in profound ways. Goku's heroism inspires countless beings across the cosmos, uniting them in a newfound sense of hope and solidarity. The Z fighters, humbled by his sacrifice, vow to carry on his legacy, training harder than ever to protect the peace he fought so hard to achieve. Vegeta, in particular, undergoes a profound transformation, his rivalry with Goku giving way to a deep respect and a renewed sense of purpose. "You were always the better man, Kakarot," he admits quietly, his voice filled with rare sincerity. "But I won't let your sacrifice be in vain." As for Goku, his condition forces him to step back from the front lines, but his spirit remains unbroken. He spends his days training the next generation, passing on his wisdom and techniques to Gohan, Goten, and others. His legacy lives on, not just in his strength, but in the values he embodied: courage, compassion, and an unyielding belief in the potential of others. The universe, forever changed by his actions, moves forward into a new era, one defined by the hope he fought so hard to protect. The final scene shows Goku standing atop a hill, gazing at the horizon as the sun sets. His heart may be weak, but his spirit is as strong as ever. He smiles, a quiet sense of fulfillment in his eyes. "It's not over," he murmurs to himself. "As long as there's life, there's always a chance to grow, to fight, to protect what matters most." And with that, he turns and walks away, his silhouette fading into the twilight, a symbol of hope and resilience for all who follow in his footsteps.